they confirmed that the PS2 has actually sold 160 million units. So that was updated, which means it is still the #1 console ever sold. The official PlayStation page now confirms that the PS2 has sold over 160 million units, something I had already calculated 10 years ago. We still don't have an exact figure, but the thread below explains the theoretical maximum. Spoiler, the PS2 theoretical maximum is 161.8 million, although the real figure is definitely below that. So basically what Sony's saying is like, we're good with 160 million. I don't like it when I see people online trying to detract from the astronomical success of the PS2 console. People are like, oh, well, it had the DVD player built in and that's the only reason it did well. No, I don't agree with that at all. The PS2 era is one of, I would say, the most important eras in gaming. You had the PS2, you had the GameCube, you had the Xbox, and we got so many interesting games around that time. We got Halo, we had Eternal Darkness over on the GameCube. They remade the original Metal Gear, a little bit controversial, but I had a lot of fun with that. Super Mario Sunshine. I went through 3 PS2s. That sounds about right, Woodpit. But then the PS2 was doing cool stuff like Ratchet and Clank started on the PS2. We had Sly Cooper on the PS2. And there were a lot of games for all sorts of gamers on that platform. It was the first console that I ever put a hard drive in and put the what was it? The Ethernet port on the back so that you could play games like SOCOM 2. And you could play, I would play Final Fantasy 11. I got a keyboard and mouse and I would play Final Fantasy 11. I started on the PS2 and then I built a PC so that I could play on the PC because I was tired of, playing off the console. Yeah. And don't forget Grand Theft Auto 3. I believe it was a PlayStation 2 exclusive. So yes, the DVD player being intact and part of the PS2, it absolutely contributed to its success, but that just was a really smart move by Sony. They deserve all their flowers. I think that's what the kids say these days for their success with the PlayStation 2. It was incredible. It was incredible what they were able to accomplish. It was incredible how they pushed gaming forward at that time. No one can deny how successful the PS2 was. I think it's absolutely an incredible device. I love my PS2. I still have it in storage. I keep all my old consoles just in case I ever need it for capture or whatever. And 160 million, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah, now kids are like, what's a DVD? Yeah, and the fact that the DVD player was included, I don't see that as a negative. A big reason that it was successful was because of that inclusion, but I don't see that as a negative. I see that as a smart way to get people who only know, DVDs and such to get them into gaming. There's some phenomenal photos here of the unit and live in your world, play in ours. Man, I can remember it like it was yesterday. And when I was looking at these old ports, I forgot it had the S400 port. That was for like super mega drives, like really, really large drives where you could have your media. I never used the S400 port. I wish they had a shot of the backside of the thing. But yeah, they talked about, the DVD age. By 2000, DVD was the most desirable way to watch movies at home, but dedicated DVD players could be costly at the time. So the PS2 console's combination of gaming and DVD playback was hugely attractive to price-savvy consumers. What do you think would be a modern version of that? I think the Switch was a big innovator in handheld. So I do think that helped a lot. And they have a few pictures of other units here. These are the PS2 Slims, where this top thing would pop open and you would put the disc in and then you would be able to play it. Yeah, and there's oh man, this is just like a trip down memory lane for me. They had so many good games. I bought this hard disk drive add-on so you would have your network adapter and you'd be able to pop that in on the back and screw it on. Mine still has the hard drive and everything on it. Yeah, they have some of the games here, SOCOM, Final Fantasy 11. Yeah, and I played Final Fantasy 11 on my PS2 when I started out. And then they had backwards compatibility. That was another big thing. They had some, Eco or Ico, however you want to say it. Man, one of my favorite games of all time. Shadow of the Colossus, Killzone. I forgot about. There were so many cool, great games on the PS2. God of War. I used to have posters of God of War on my wall. Yeah. And you know, eventually, so like I think the PS2 was about the time I got back into gaming. And I went really, really hard with the PS2, and I was able to buy a PlayStation 2. And then I got a used Xbox from a mom and pop store after I played an Xbox at a party. And I was like, what is this Halo game? This is so cool. And then I got the GameCube mostly for Twin Snakes because I ended up being a massive Metal Gear fan. I worked at a movie rental place, and I would rent out movies and games all the time. So I would like try just whatever the thing was that nobody was playing, and I would just play as many as I could. And I had GameFly and all that stuff. Speaking of the PSP, we were talking about that earlier. That was pretty cool. They had the UMD drives. I think I have this unit. I think it's just back over there, honestly. It's probably not. You're probably not able to power it up. Yeah, Peace Walker came on the PSP. I played that on a trip until my hands were like claw hands. Yeah, sorry to just talk about all this. It's just so cool to see the old unit. They don't have the PS2 on the bottom part. So they talk about the PS1 and the PS3 and everything, but I honestly think that the PS2 is a big reason why PlayStation still exists and has seen so much success, because they had a misstep with the PS3 for a while. Eventually they adjusted the pricing and everything, and then they knocked it out of the park with the PS4. So the PS4 would come along and just absolutely trounce Xbox. Like Xbox could have gone Xbox went toe to toe with PlayStation for years. And then the PS4 and the Xbox One came out. And honestly, I put a lot of that on Don Matrick. I think Don Matrick's tone deaf approach to not wanting to play online and not wanting to like give users more options with the Xbox One really, really hurt that console launch. Like I like the Kinect, I like the functionality and everything, but it wore off very fast. And the games that you were able to play on the Kinect, I can't think of anything that I was like, man, I need to bust out the Kinect so I can play it again. It was really hard to optimize games on the original Xbox One. Well, Struggle says Don was ahead of his time. I actually agree with that a little bit. There was some functionality built into the Xbox One that is just standard practice today, like the way that you're able to digitally share your games and such, but it shouldn't have been a detractor from the way things were at the time. And unfortunately, I think he just made it too restrictive, and that is what led to a lot of the issues with the original Xbox One. Someone above Don was okay with it. Well, they were okay with it until they weren't, because he's gone and then Phil was in. I greatly appreciate you watching. If you like my content, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Thank you so much to the members. I really do appreciate it. This is updated with last week's memberships from Aries. Aries is great. Aries will sometimes give some members, but if you just want to become a member and support my channel, allowing me to make more videos and live streams like this one, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you for the next one, everybody. Bye for now.